And I think the highlight of that for me was probably JCap every single round. Now, for me, I think Envy definitely deserved to win the first 2 maps. They smashed Splice. Third map, I mean, the overdrive, it should have been a dunk. It should have been a 2-possession game. It ended up being, the drone fell into the portal. Like, if you're Splice, that's tilts you more than anything.
Oh, yeah. I think when that goes in like that, and then when Envy draw things up, that's game over for me. When it goes into that situation where you've had, that's the game. You've got the game. It's in your hands. You lose it in that sort of situation. Well, to go to an overtime, sorry, I should say. It's always going to be tough to win it from there. Envy come out firing. In the second half of that overtime, Spice got a few kills. It was looking like they might have had a chance, but they could never string anything together at that point. You could tell that, it's a demoralizing way to lose that map, and that's going to be a tough loss for them to take, I think.
The interesting thing about that map in particular, was Slasher said yesterday before they played Evil Genius, is that they had a bit of a curse on that map. They were struggling to win it. They not won it in a long time. They managed to break the MV curse, though, on Frost Uplink against the Evil Geniuses yesterday. That was actually said in DeSerto's interview. However, they were able to go on and then end up winning it. But I think if any map that Splice could have turned this series around, it was definitely that Frost Uplink.
Yeah, I think for me, it was one of those ones where they should have had that map. Should have almost pretty much had it. I know Bant had kinetic at the end of that. Before we went into overtime, he had it.
Quick, didn't it?
And then he didn't use it in the first half of overtime, and I was like, maybe they're going to make a play with it in the second half of OT. I don't know what he ended up doing, but I didn't actually see. But like, he held on to that kinetic for a while, and I think he kind of held it thinking, oh, I'll use it if someone pushes through mid. They actually went through sub bay, so he never had a chance to use it. He could have stopped that push. If he was sub bay instead of mid with kinetic, he could have probably prevented them actually getting that dunk at the end of normal time.
I mean, it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? I suppose they probably could have used that a lot better than they did, but for me, there's so many questions over a couple of these European teams this weekend for me. I mean, Splice is one of them, and Red Reserve's the other. I know there's a close game going on between Red Reserve and Epsilon.
Epsilon won the first half point.
I knew 1-1 was the last
I know Red
time.
now are, I think they won the game. I think Red Reserve won the game because I can see 0 tweet out, but I don't have the exact score. I imagine because it's ended now, it's a 3-1. So,
yeah, I mean,
there's again.
Yeah.
So we talked yesterday about the issues facing. There are rumblings maybe more for FaZe than there are Optic in terms of like Optic. There's like a really low level sort of thing if they fail again, which doesn't look very likely right now. FaZe again, that same talks come up. It's actually even stronger in Europe. Both Splice
100%.
and Orbit, they're just not happy with their current level of performance. They don't understand why they are not able to be consistent at the top.
That's the thing. The talent is there. You look at those rosters on paper, there's no reason they shouldn't be working. They are all full up. I mean, it used to be the thing years ago, well, 2 or 3 years ago, a team, I mean, you would get Prof, would put together this God squad, and it would never work. And everyone was like, oh, why didn't it happen? And then that stopped happening. You started getting these teams together. They would practice together a lot. There would never be any issues. They started getting better. And now it seems to have lulled back towards that. I mean, these are two teams, Red Reserve and Spice, that should work, and they should.
100%.
They should be there with the top-level American team.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, well.
I'm going to disagree. I would just say you're wrong.
But I think if you take a look at the two European teams in terms of against America this weekend, so far Red Reserve have come the closest to beating one of the American big teams. It's Optic, they took to 3-2. But you look at Splice, who've lost 3-1 to they've lost 3-1 to now FaZe yesterday, and now also 3-1 to Envy, 3-0 to Envy. So I mean, in terms of European teams looking strong, I don't know if it's just Optic weren't strong yesterday, but you've got to give it to Red Reserve in terms of the power against the American teams.
I think that, I mean, Optic probably yesterday probably weren't, I would say probably maybe not for full capacity. Red Reserve had it in there, they could have actually won that, and Red Reserve could have been playing well. I think it's just that there's something not clicking with both these teams at some point.
It's a lack of consistency, and I think that's the issue. Saying they had a close game against Optic honestly doesn't really mean anything on Friday to me.
No.
It doesn't mean anything. It's kind of it's a null point.
I mean, Optic have lost games on Fridays and Saturdays and won the tournaments before, so it's...
Here's the genuine difference, right? We talked last